RTruth confirms that his return at WWE Money in the Bank was not a work, and we have plenty of new details on Ron Killings' return to WWE, who stepped in, and when did a deal come together. We've got more on reaction to Mr. Iguana at Worlds Collide and his popularity moving forward. Just who was running Worlds Collide backstage has been revealed. The reason for Mike Tenay not working the show has also been revealed. We've got AAA's backstage reaction to the Worlds Collide show over the weekend, as well as the reaction to Corey Graves on commentary with Conan for the show. John Cena is scheduled for tonight's episode of WWE Raw. So is Nikki Bella, making her return tonight on Netflix. WrestleMania 42 is officially confirmed for Las Vegas, Nevada for the second consecutive year. And The Miz provides an update on his WWE status after rumors that he could be potentially leaving the company. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Firstly, really want to say thank you to everyone who reached out over the weekend. As you saw on the community post, couldn't make Money in the Bank or Worlds Collide. Absolutely devastated I wasn't able to stream for both of the shows. Unfortunately, a stomach virus hit me down over the weekend and I just wasn't in the right place to be streaming with that illness. But I'm back. I'm nearly back to 100%. So normal service has been resumed here on the channel. Your daily news videos, your countdown videos, and live streams that are going to be coming up soon. So really appreciate everyone who sent their well wishes, and we move forward and we look ahead to all the videos and content that's on the horizon. So really appreciate everyone who has reached out. Now, of course, the biggest story coming out of Money in the Bank over the weekend was the return of RTruth. The crowd chanted, "We want truth," and the fans got exactly what they wanted. Now, following the shocking conclusion to WWE's Money in the Bank Premium Live event on June 7th, Ron the Truth Killings, that being Ron RTruth Killings, is back in WWE. Now, the 53-year-old has reportedly put pen to paper on a new deal with WWE after he revealed on June 1st that his existing contract was expiring and that he would be leaving the company after 17 years of service, as he wasn't originally offered a new deal. Now, given the quick turnaround from leaving as a free agent to appearing in the main event of Money in the Bank, it was only natural that some fans believed that the past 7 days had been a carefully orchestrated work to build towards a big return. However, that wasn't the case, according to the man himself, as Killings responded to a fan on X, claiming that the truth of the matter, pun intended, was that his departure wasn't a work. He actually said, quote, "no work," when the suggestion was that the fans had been worked over the last week. Truth later responded to another fan on X who was proud of the WWE fans for campaigning for him to get his job back, thanking them for the We Want Truth movement. He said, quote, "no cap, hashtag We Want Truth was seen, heard, felt, and understood. Believe me when I say this, I love every one of you to death. We made history together." Now, in terms of how this all came about, as I mentioned, RTruth there is confirming, despite what Triple H says in the post-show press conference, this was no work. He was indeed gone from the company or was going to leave the company, but now Truth is back. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, there's so many more details on this. RTruth is back with WWE before he ever technically left. And no, as I stressed, it is not a work. RTruth appeared at the end of WWE Money in the Bank, attacking John Cena. Now, a week prior, he announced his release from the company, which WWE clarified to Fightful at the time was actually a contract expiration that was occurring. His contract had actually not fully expired yet, but sources close to Ron RTruth Killings did claim that he has a new deal now. His son has seemingly confirmed as much on social media, congratulating his father on his new deal. Now, over the week that followed, wrestling companies, promoters, and representatives reached out to Ron Killings / RTruth and were hopeful they could book him for upcoming shows. Now, a number of talent noted to Fightful that they spoke with RTruth and specified repeatedly that the situation was not a work. Now, Fightful have been told there were many tears over Killings' departure, and he was flooded with phone calls and messages, and that Killings seemed, quote, shocked and kind of disgusted, as we all were, end quote. Now, specifically, one talent noted that Truth was cut, quote, in a very cold and impersonal way, end quote, with a talent relations employee informing him instead of top brass in the company. Now, Fightful are also told that Killlings actually ignored many of WWE's approaches during the week until WWE President himself, Nick Khan, took over and called Killlings to work out a new deal. Fightful have been told that a deal was a, quote, meeting halfway, end quote, situation. Now, one talent that Killlings worked with for over a decade stated to Fightful, quote, Ronnie wouldn't do that. If he had to maintain a work like that, he'd just ask us not to say anything. He would never lie to us about that. I think that Paul Levesque also knows that lying to or working in the locker room is horrible taste, end quote. Now, in response to Triple H claiming RTruth's departure and appearance was part of the show, which is what he said after the show during the post-show press conference, a number of talent reached out to outright claim the opposite. Truth's son, Christopher Killlings, also posted Cap in response to claims of it being part of the show. Another talent saw Killings' son calling Cap lie on Triple H's comments and said, see, you can't control all of these conversations, end quote. Another veteran responded to the situation saying, quote, I can tell Hunter doesn't like it. He doesn't like the fans hijacking creative, end quote, before elaborating their disbelief of it being an elaborate plan in a very colourful manner. Now, throughout the week, one of Killings' friends in the company said, quote, it's hard to feel good when we fired Santa Claus, end quote. Now, obviously, the mood was much different with everyone excited that Truth made a return. PW Insider reports that the deal came together in the 72 hours leading up to Money in the Bank. Now, midway through the show, Fightful Select reported that there was a surprise plan for the end of the show, but at the time, Fightful said they didn't know what it was. Staff, talent, and the majority of WWE was kept completely in the dark until before the match. With a few people and talent in the know, the truth was kept very close to the vest for obvious reasons. Now, in terms of even more on this, more details are coming out about this again. If there was any doubt remaining, there's more evidence of the RTruth situation not being this elaborate, masterminded work. Fightful say they spoke to a higher-up in WWE yesterday who confirmed the order of events as reported previously, including that WWE President himself, Nick Khan, indeed took over negotiations. In fact, Fightful were told that when RTruth had initially been approached for a return, that he didn't seem to entertain the calls. When Nick Khan took over, things began to open up. It was also reiterated to Fightful that Truth's initial departure was not a work. Fightful were also told that it's very rare that Nick Khan gets involved in negotiations, but this one was important to the company and to the locker room. The higher-ups said that Truth being brought back was something that they viewed as a good sign that the roster and fan response being listened to overcame everything else. As one would expect, the roster is ecstatic about Truth being back with WWE. When Ron Killings and WWE Brass have been asked directly by talent about the situation, they also stated it wasn't a work. People close to RTruth, even his own family members, had spoke to numerous people indicating that the deal was put together very late in the week. Fightful say they spoke to another source in WWE management about the Ron Killings name being used. Now, Fightful weren't given any guarantees about booking, but it was stated to Fightful that Killings had indicated in the past that he wanted to have at least more of a serious in-ring run before ending his career. Regarding the shirt that WWE had ready to use for merchandise, they've had that for months. Killings actually wore it on TV in February, so that's not anything new and not a sign that it was a whole work from the beginning. There were reportedly immediately companies interested in booking Killings, including TNA Wrestling and GCW. Fightful have not been given an indication of how long this new deal is for. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to the name, Ron Killings, apparently this is at the request of Killings himself. In an update from the Wrestling Observer, the name change from RTruth to Ron Killings was at the request of RTruth himself as part of his new deal with the company. The decision was made as when this new deal with the company ends, he will have had time on WWE television under the name Ron Killings, so he can then go straight into using that name on the indies and in other appearances. Now again, this is not a work, so what do you think about all of the events that unfolded on the weekend? Let me know your thoughts or reaction to all of it in the comment section below. Now, going over to WWE and AAA Worlds Collide, Mr. Iguana has taken the world by storm. Mr. Iguana's immediate popularity among American fans discovering AAA is not going unnoticed. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp heard a lot of details about Mr. Iguana, his future, and reaction from the company. Now, Fightful are reporting they're told that the reaction to Mr. Iguana at Worlds Collide internally was, quote, "We have to get him in the Intuit Dome for a Money in the Bank appearance," and that the reaction from the crowd didn't disappoint. There was also a lot of praise for his general performance, translating well to social media, with one NXT source indicating to Sean Ross Sapp that they will be pushing for him to make appearances. In addition, Fightful were told he was popular among the WWE roster as well, asking for pictures. When WWE seated him behind commentary, Fightful were told he was approached for dozens of photos. WWE higher-ups that Fightful spoke to said that Mr. Iguana was a pleasure and happy to do any and all promotional work they needed, and that he had a busy schedule Saturday. Fightful have been told the newly advertised RTruth shirt sold like crazy this weekend, but Mr. Iguana's performed exceptionally well also. There have already been talks on how to appropriately merchandise Mr. Iguana, including the feasibility of producing Iguana puppets. So it looks like, again, his popularity is only set to continue moving forward. Now, Worlds Collide, we know that Jeremy Borash was running the show over the weekend. WWE, of course, announced the purchase of Mexican Lucha Libre promotion AAA back on night one of WrestleMania 41, with a Worlds Collide event between the two companies announced for Los Angeles on June 7th. The show took place on Saturday, with the main event seeing AAA's El Hijo del Vikingo defend his AAA Mega Championship against WWE's Chad Gable. The show was well received by fans online, with Paul Triple H Levesque preparing for the Money in the Bank event. He wasn't the person in charge of the show. Per PW Insider, it was Jerry Borash who was in charge of all aspects of the Worlds Collide broadcast on Saturday. Borash was announced as one of the names expected to head up creative for AAA following WWE's acquisition. Now, there were rumors going into the show, of course, that former TNA and WCW broadcaster Mike Tenay could have been on the commentary team. Of course, that wasn't the case. Corey Graves and Conan headed up the English-speaking commentary. Now, WWE's original plans would have seen a different announcer on the commentary table, though, as it was noted ahead of Worlds Collide that legendary Mike Tenay had been discussed for the show. Tenay ultimately didn't appear at Worlds Collide, but Dave Meltzer has reported in an F4W Online daily update that Tenay was approached about working the show, but the two sides failed to reach a financial agreement. Tenay has been away from commentary since he retired from TNA Wrestling in 2016. Companies have approached him about a return, including WWE, TNA, GCW, and AAA, but he has turned down previous offers due to enjoying retirement and having no financial concerns. Mike Tenay made his WCW commentary debut at 1994's Worlds Collide. His impressive performance led to Tenay serving as a guest commentator for luchador matches in World Championship Wrestling before he became a full-time announcer on Nitro from 1996. After WCW shuttered it down, Tenay became the voice of TNA from the promotion's inception in June 2002 until January 2015. Now, in terms of an overall backstage reaction, specifically from AAA, WWE, of course, held their first co-branded show with AAA since the acquisition of the company earlier this year with Worlds Collide, as both promotions took over the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California. The show featured plenty top names from AAA, the AAA Mega Championship being defended in the main event, and plenty of video packages detailing the history of AAA and the biggest names in the company. Now, WWE talent came out 3-2 in victory in terms of overall results from the show, as Legado del Fantasma, Ethan Page, Stephanie Vaquer, and Lola Vice all emerged as winners, where it was just El Hijo del Vikingo and the team of Mr. Iguana, Octagon Jr., and Aero Star who won matches for AAA. Despite WWE's victory, this didn't affect the reception from those in AAA. According to PW Insider, the Roldan family of AAA were reportedly said to be very happy with Worlds Collide and were pleased with how AAA were presented to the WWE audience. Octagon Jr., who would pull double duty, competing for the Intercontinental title on the Money in the Bank PLE later on in the night, with many of those features at Worlds Collide showed in the audience during Money in the Bank 2. WWE are also selling t-shirts of several of those AAA stars who competed at Worlds Collide. Now, as I mentioned, Corey Graves was on commentary for the show, and he got a lot of praise backstage for it. Now, Conan had some very interesting stories to tell about pretty much every luchador who entered the ring, both when it comes to their personal lives, ongoing and previous storylines, and more. Though his delivery wasn't entirely perfect, delivered very much like he was on a podcast, Conan's stories and sidetracks were often interrupted by Corey Graves, who was doing play-by-play during every match. In many ways, Graves was doing all jobs across commentary for the show, working hard not to only try and seamlessly weave Conan's words into the commentary, but keep things on track too. According to Fightful Select Graves received a lot of praise for his work on the commentary desk for the show, and for good reason too. He displayed a lot of insight himself and clear research, carrying much of the presentation for the show on his back. In terms of other feedback to Worlds Collide, WWE noted the positive response to Mr. Iguana, of course, as mentioned previously, getting him on the Money in the Bank show later on in the evening. Let's go to Raw tonight. Several have been announced for the show on Netflix. Mr. Money in the Bank is coming to Raw. The WWE Raw General Manager Adam Pearce announced that the 2025 Men's Money in the Bank winner Seth Rollins will be in the building for the June 9th episode of WWE Raw. Plus, undisputed WWE Champion John Cena has also been confirmed to appear. This, of course, is in addition to WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella returning to Monday Night Raw. It really is Evolution season, and the returns of legends and Hall of Famers is already beginning ahead of WWE's second ever all-women's premium live event, which takes place on July 13th next month, emanating from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. During Saturday's Money in the Bank 2025 PLE broadcast, the return of Nikki Bella was announced. The former WWE Divas Champion was advertised for the upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, which takes place in the PHX Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. Bella has sporadically appeared as a special guest in the crowd or events such as the Hall of Fame, but it has been some time since she's had a segment on WWE programming. She did recently return in 2025 for the Women's Royal Rumble match, though before that, her last match came all the way back in 2022. In recent weeks, reports emerged of potential legends making their return to WWE for the Evolution show, and Nikki Bella could well be one of those names. When it comes to responses towards the Evolution 2025 PLE, it was reported that some of the reaction from the current locker room was mixed. Evolution would take place across a jam-packed weekend that sees AEW All in Texas 2025, Saturday night's main event, and NXT Great American Bash all take place across the same weekend. Now, it was one of the worst kept secrets, particularly after the announcement that New Orleans wasn't going to be hosting WrestleMania. We now know where WrestleMania 42 is going to be taking place next year. WWE WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas for the second year in a row is now official, with WWE announcing during Money in the Bank that WrestleMania 42 will emanate from Allegiant Stadium on Saturday, April 18th and Sunday, April 19th, 2026. WrestleMania 42 was originally scheduled to take place at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, to the point it was made official by The Rock in February earlier this year. It suddenly emerged in May, however, that WWE had pulled out and would be holding the 2026 WrestleMania in Sin City once more. Before an official announcement could be made, however, a number of hurdles had to be cleared due to an unannounced concert taking place in Allegiant Stadium, which would give WWE little time to set up for WrestleMania. Part of the Las Vegas Convention Center was also booked for April 19th and April 18th, which would have made WWE World much smaller than it was in 2025. It was believed those hurdles had been cleared in recent days, and the city of Las Vegas had made concessions to land WrestleMania for a second consecutive year. WWE running Las Vegas for the second year in a row was ultimately because of money. 2026 will be the third time the city has hosted WrestleMania, following WrestleMania 9 and, of course, WrestleMania 41. And finally, The Miz has commented on his WWE status. Over the last 7 days, fans had spotted The Miz removed all reference to WWE across his social media, coming in the same week as the previous departures of RTruth, now back with the company, but also Carlito and Sarah Logan, who seemingly are not coming back. There was a lot of talk and speculation regarding the status of The Miz's WWE future. Although reports stated there was no indication of The Miz leaving WWE, there was no confirmation from WWE or The Miz on the matter until now. Taking to a video on his Instagram, The Miz sought to debunk any rumors of him leaving WWE, calling all the talk false. He said, quote, "My thing is everyone get off of social media and don't listen to any of it because it's all false. Everything I've seen about me is false. I didn't want to address this. I thought it would just go away. I didn't want to draw attention to it because if I said something, then it might draw more attention, and I just didn't want that. But it keeps going. I will say it like it is. As far as X, Instagram, and TikTok, and I've never changed any of them recently. The last time I changed my Twitter profile was probably 5 years ago. It still says Twitter on it. It doesn't say X. I haven't changed that in 5 years. I haven't unfollowed WWE at all. WWE and I are in very good standings. We just dropped Miz Golf, which is part of WWE's YouTube. Of course, now his former tag team partner RTruth is now back with the company. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see right there, we're at 23,313 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. Be sure to click that like button. Let me know your thoughts on all the big stories today in the comment section below. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.